of marriage. The author of marriage is God himself. He is the one that instituted it in Genesis chapter 2. When you read from verse 24 down, when you go to Matthew chapter 19 from verse 5 or thereabout, you find out that God is the one. So you can't just finish the traditional one, the men's idea one, and then leave God's idea. So it is very, very important that after you have done the tradition, that's why we, even in many churches, we decided that when you do your tradition on Friday, on Saturday, you do the wedding, so that we don't keep you long before you come together. So it is not right.
So, but what about those who are unable to, what do you call it, to do the church immediately after the traditional?
For me, you can do your tradition on Friday, and then on Saturday, you just dress and come just as you are, and I will bless you. You don't spend anything. You don't go to organize any reception. You don't, because the excuse that people are giving is, I have no money to do white wedding. So even when you say white wedding, it's just to typify that you are pure. Okay, it's not anything special. We are the one that are adding style to it. Even your own cloth, the one you've been using, you can wear that. Just put it right, wear it, and come on Sunday morning. If you like, you invite few friends. Since you have done the traditional aspect, come and say, look, I've just done my tradition. And of course, in your tradition, the church will be represented, because you let the church know. The church must be informed about all these things. It's not just something you go and say, I have done this, I've done that, because we will ask the parents of your wife whether he has fulfilled all the requirement. And if it is yes, there's nothing left. I bless you in the name of Jesus, and you go consume your marriage. That is it. The second one is
I still have questions about that, though,
okay,
Reverend. Last week somebody was asking, and indeed we know that a lot of ladies want to have a little bit of that pomp, and pageantry, like we love to say.
But I'm not against it.
I do know.
Some men are giving excuse that they don't have money for that, and that shouldn't delay them. But then, if you love your wife, anything that is worth doing, I think is worth doing well. I'm not saying you should go to bank and borrow money to marry. No. But if you want to cut down a tree, won't you weigh yourself, or you want to build a house, won't you sit down first and count the cost? So that is what it involves. Before I got married, I started planning for 3 years. I started planning 3 years. Even though that time I have not known who I was going to marry. But then I was moving with somebody that was dear to my heart. To be candid, we decided marriage 6 months after we have moved look, let nobody say many people are practicing that. No, we were young people in fellowship. And everybody was everybody's brother and sister. And then 6 months after we have been together in fellowship for about 6 years, it was done that this is the right person. But then it was not that time I started planning for the marriage. I have been dropping some things. So you plan. If you don't plan, you have planned to fail. So that is why a lot of people, and look, money is involved in all these things. To be candid, money enhances love. I hope I'm not bringing another topic.
No. It's just that the short answer to this is no. You can't have Congress. After bride price,
you can't have Congress. Hand it over to God first.
Okay.
And that is why we call it church wedding. And then if you check out, a lot that have problems today are those who just pack themselves into a man's house. They didn't follow the procedure. And so they lose respect before the man and even before the relatives of the man. And when any problem comes, there's no place to cushion it. And they release whatever it is. And then you hear such words as, you are a prostitute. Haven't you heard that? And the woman said, but I have never met any man since I came to your house. But you met him before you got married to him. So that is what they are saying.
Okay, so your advice to people who don't really have the funds, say for instance, after they've paid this bride price, in short, let's say after the traditional marriage has taken place, would be that quickly go and get a church blessing.
Yeah, that's it. And you are okay.
Okay. All right, so let's move on quickly to, if you still have questions on this, please feel free to send in your thoughts to our text number, which is 09072703270. But quickly,
the second one is...
yes, the second one was actually someone desperate enough to reach out to Pastor Dodo. She said for 5 years, her husband had not been near her for Congress or any affection at all. And so she said to Mrs. Dodo, she is going to go ahead
to buy
and purchase a sex toy.
I am not blaming her for that action she wants to take. But then, in the first place, it is one of the greatest sins that a man will commit against the wife. That you keep your wife for even 1 month without having Congress is already evil. If the scripture tells in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 7, when you go to verse 5, it said, defraud not one another. I said, if there is anything that will interrupt your Congress, is when both of you have agreed together to pray, to fast and pray. And the Bible cautioned, it said, don't stay long in your prayer and fasting so that you will not be tempted. And you are keeping your wife 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 6 months, 1 year. Look, I think, is it not a process of divorce? Is it not?
I was about to ask that when a man hasn't been to his wife,
yes,
for 5 years,
I think
5 years.
Let us check whether it's medically.
Should this woman? Let's have this conversation.
Let's discuss with the wife.
Let us have this conversation.
Yeah.
If you have a medical issue, shouldn't your wife know about it?
Your wife should know it.
And by the way, this goes both ways, I should think. A woman should not defraud the husband either.
Yes.
There must be a reason why you are denying the flesh of your flesh and the bone of your bones.
Yeah.
Intimacy.
Let me say something quickly. You know, when a man is desirous of this Congress and he comes to the wife and the wife turns him down, do you know what normally happens? The libido drops. The desire for her drops. If he continue like that consistently for long, the man may not be excited, may not have libido for her again. This has been researched, and it is true. Unless the person is a rapist, and then you can have that. But when passion is to be brought to play, when the normalcy is to be in place, when there is that constant refusal, even if a woman comes to the husband and he demands and the man turns her down once, twice, thrice, I tell you the truth, that woman will never attempt again. And that is how the libido will keep dropping and the desire will begin to die. And that's why we have many of such today in many homes.
My amazement is why would your husband or your wife constantly deny you intimacy of Congress and you are not having a conversation in the house?
Is it okay? Go ahead.
Why not?
See, this issue, some men don't like talking about this. because it touches on their ego. Like this woman, when I was asking her, I said, is he okay? She said she knows he's taking some antihypertensive drugs. And I said, but does that stop? You know, the thing is that there are various ways you can make somebody feel that they are loved. Cuddle the person. When the person knows you have an issue, you don't just put a pillow between the two of you and you are on your own side. She is on her own side. At least there, you should cuddle. At least let her know that you still care or love her. Yeah. But when there's nothing like that at all, and then when she starts up the conversation, he tells her she is not willing to talk about such things. So what do you want her to do?
Do they have children?
They do. They have children. In fact, she has even, if you read the text, she said she has even finished giving birth, and she discovered that now is even the time that she's enjoying Congress. And then now is the time that he refuses. And she even said it, that when, before now, she didn't had any interest in, Congress. He reported her to his mother, her mother, her friends.
Her.
Yes, he reported her to everybody that was around them.
Was plain.
So he reported her, and he said no.
Of tit for tat, is the man paying her back now?
No.
He's not paying her back. He's not paying her back. And she said, okay, that she even said he should go and talk to a doctor. If a family friend that is a doctor. He refused to go. And she said she's tired. She's tired.
Yeah, actually, this one is too long. Let's talk to the man. If it's possible, please link us with the man.
He doesn't want to go and see doctor. Is it you want to see?
Well, I think he has truly indicated that he's not interested in the marriage. He has clearly shown by his action for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
5 years.
That he's not interested in this marriage. So I really don't know what she can do, because truly speaking, I've been sitting here thinking of the way out. What is the way out? He's not going to talk to anybody. He's not going to talk to medical personnel. He's not going to, obviously, not going to talk to a counselor.
We'll visit him.
I'm sure his pastors or priests have intervened. I'm sure in 5 years, it's very possible that they may have intervened. And
it's also possible, Mr. Obaki, that this woman has never...
She has never.
Yes.
She has never.
Yeah, don't report such things.
She has not.
So
how can you go and tell your pastor this thing?
This man is not sleeping with me.
So again, the truth of the matter is that he has truly indicated that he's not interested in this marriage. So she really needs help. Just like Reverend said, one of the ways out is to get to talk to him.
Yes.
Yeah, is to
we
get
must
to
meet the man.
I
want to meet the man.
To get to talk to him, and then to know whether he's still interested in the marriage or not. First things first. Mm-hmm. Yes, moving forward, whether he wants this marriage, and if he really wants it, then conjugal responsibilities must be.
Jacqueline's expression.
It's really disturbing.
Right, 5 years
5
is not
years.
5 months.
5 years.
It's not
sin,
5 days.
That is what we call SIN, sin. Sin against the wife.
It's wrong. And I do hope that everyone who is listening at home takes something away from this. Because there are quite a number of people who, up till tomorrow, make the withholding of Congress from their spouses a form of punishment. It isn't right. You should be able to sort out whatever it is that is, causing the lack of passion or resentment that is standing in the way, and ensure that you get back to communing with each other in that manner in the shortest time possible. 5 years.
Some men and some women, they stay at home, they don't even touch each other. Now, I was saying the other day, if you keep 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 women, and you say, I should identify my wife through touching the ear, where you normally put your earring, I tell every woman, remove their earrings and touch it and know which one is your wife. I say, look, I will identify my wife. Some cannot put palm to palm and identify their wife or their husband. How can that be?
Because they don't hold
You know what
hands.
I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Because they don't touch, they don't hold hands. There's no part you say I should touch, and I wouldn't identify my wife. What do you mean?
Honestly, there are some people who are going through really, really difficult
Ouch.
times. You know, when Pastor Dodo was saying, look at the expression on my face, I'm just thinking, you know, the life itself, it's difficult enough. There's so many challenges out there. And then you have this to go and add on top of it. I just don't think that it is right.
It's not good.
But, well,
She even thought maybe she has a very low self-esteem, you know. She feels as if she has done something. What has she done? She has asked him. He's not forthcoming. He's not talking to her. So she really doesn't know. She really doesn't know what she
it
has
certainly
done.
is going to affect herself.
But we want the woman to be open to us. How often did you refuse him at the onset before this thing started? You know, I'm telling you, look, when you have counseling over many numbers of people, and you have anything I say here are things that I have had over and over and over and over again, and then the consequence that came after it. That's why I was hitting that aspect. And you know, when men withdraw, it's very bad.
I think Miss Albaki, you should let's talk about this. It's true. Miss Albaki doesn't want to say it. I think because he doesn't want it to seem like one is. But I mean, it's room for
Let's
it.
help-
It's
let's help
grounds
the
for
people.
annulment.
Let's help.
Let's. It is that serious
Yeah.
that you are withholding Congress from your spouse 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, a year.
2 years.
Do you know how a 5-year-old child looks like? That's a child well on their way to adulthood. And you have not had Congress in 5 years. Rather than allow this woman go and commit adultery, then let her go.
True.
Even the man himself don't know the advantages of Congress. And I don't want to, release them. About 6 solid gains of Congress, because I don't want it to be abused.
Yeah, even
a lot
for
of
the,
people.
even for the health of the man, even for his own health.
A lot
Even
of
for his
people.
own
Yeah.
health.
Yeah. So
There's a lot to be gained from having Congress with your spouse. And so 5 years, no matter what. I mean, I'm even, right now I'm sitting down thinking about what could have been the worst case scenario. You caught her in another man's arms
At
or in
all.
another man's bed. If, let's even assume that that's what happened. If you agreed to move forward, if you agreed to not put her away, the Bible gave you permission to put her away in that instance.
Yeah.
And you did not. You decided that you wanted to continue. You shouldn't be withholding Congress.
I think we should arrange to see this man.
Well, she actually contacted Pastor Dodo. So if she wants,
So if he wants us,
if she wants that,
if the man wants help, he should let me know.
The man doesn't want help now.
he
He needs
doesn't.
help.
If she,
He
Doesn't want help.
Pastor Dodo, if it's not going to worsen the situation in the home for strangers to come in and start talking about their sexual life, then I think it's worth a try to speak with him and hear what it is. But
Yeah.
then everything is left up to her. It's her decision. If she feels that she's okay with the sex toy, then I
No,
think
that also
No,
has
because-
some disadvantages.
look, fundamentally, this.
are we
this-
talking about disadvantages or it's a sin? Because these are two different things, and I think we should differentiate.
In fact, it has a disadvantage, and it is a sin, really.
Okay,
It
well,
is-
we
it
have
is.
somebody replying, you people, right now. He says his own is about 7 years. My wife does not even want me to touch her.
Okay, this one is a man complaining.
Right.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. So now for this woman,
Uh-huh.
sex toy is a grave sin.
It is.
And this lack of Congress of 5 years can
It is
affect
a
her
sin.
mental state. Her mental state. So first things first, she already has a low self-esteem. Whether I know or I don't know, I know that for sure. 5 years will naturally affect her self-esteem. It will affect her confidence level outside when she relates with people and all of that. And so she's gradually going to go through a period of mental issues. Yeah, if this is not nipping to the bud. So she is the one who really needs help here, not the man. The man has indicated that he's not even interested in this marriage, first things first. He has indicated that he doesn't care about her well-being, about whatever happens to her. He has proven all of these in these 5 years because he doesn't even want to talk. First things first, he doesn't even want to talk about it. So she really needs help. She really needs all the help that she can get, and so we can actually start with her, or Pastor Dudu has started with her, hoping that she will get through with all of this. And for this man who has said 7 years, again, I will just say quickly that there must always be a reason when the woman refuses the man. There must always be a reason. Just like in this case, the man may also have a reason for refusing the wife.
So we need to hear.
Maybe a very flimsy reason, maybe anything, but he has a reason, But he's not even ready to talk.
That is
it. So,
He will talk now.
there are two sides to the story. So we need to hear him.
Yeah.
For the man who for 7 years had not been allowed by the wife, I mean, he just said that. He just sent that. We don't know the underlying factors that have led to 7 years of Congress-less relationship. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Indeed, it is fraud on every part, whether it's from the man to the woman or the woman to the man. It is something that you should discuss. It is something that you should call in people who can help if the situation is beyond both of you sorting it out by communicating. I think that's the most important message we have received from our resource persons on this matter. We have talked about it before. I don't know why we're still doing this, but it is very, very wrong. Even some people go as far as saying that as a Christian, your mind shouldn't be on such matters. I don't know where we got it, but
Who said so?
I'm just saying that our minds should not be on matters like this.
It's one of the
It's
majors.
so important, Fa,
It's one of the major. Well,
that God even addressed it in Genesis.
So somebody else is asking, before we move on to the other situation that we had before now, but just in conjunction with what we're talking about, it's a female from the Axis of Goningora. She says that she's asking about oral congress, and I think we've talked about this before on this program, but I think it bears repeating. So once again, if you would quickly, let's repeat it. I know that personally the Catholic Church says, okay, Mr. Ogbaki, you tell us, what does the Catholic Church say about this before? we hear from-
Congress or sex should be very open to. Congress is unitive and procreative. It should be open to the possibility of childbirth. And so anything outside this is not Congress, and it's a grave sin. Anything that leaves out the possibility of having procreation is a grave sin. This is because
let me ask
if we begin to say that the church is very, very firm on this, because truly speaking, in 1968, Pope Pius VI came up with an encyclical called Humanae Vitae, talking about the artificial birth control and the natural birth control. And reasons are basically, the church has said you can't have, it's best to do the natural way, because the artificial birth control makes the woman an instrument, a selfish instrument for the man at the end of the day. And so it excludes the possibility of procreation. So oral sex, anal sex, whichever kind of sex that does not leave that room for procreation and the unitive dimension of marriage is a sin.
The point I want to take up from is, does it mean, I wanted to ask you this question,
Right.
Does it mean it is only when you want to have a child that you have sex?
No, I said, and I didn't say that. I said it must have, the room must be there. For whatever time, if you decide that in these 5 years that this woman had not had Congress, in another instance, if the man decides that for every day of their life they will have Congress, it must be open to the possibility of childbirth. Open to that possibility.
So the question I wanted to ask Mr. Ogbaki is that some of these acts of oral congress are actually precursors. They're actually done
Pre. Right.
to culminating in
Into
the act the real act of Congress.
Right. This is one aspect of it. There are those who have only this and they are okay, and we all know it here. There are those who have only oral sex and they are okay. You can't penetrate me. Only that, and I mean, it's prevalent in this society. Right now, there are so many crazy things that we are hearing, and the church is on this because it says, look, the woman is created by God in the image and likeness of God. She must be respected. If you use her body as an instrument, that is also a sin. But even the women today are using this body that God has given to them, the temple of the Holy Spirit, as such an instrument to say that, I mean, we shouldn't be saying all of these kind of things here, but we hear these things happening today where they say, okay, no, no penetration, so we'll do it this way, we'll do it this way, we'll do it. That objectifies the woman.
Yeah.
Okay. I think he has been able to delineate, delineate between all those. So, I guess what we're saying is you belong to each other. You have become one. Whatever, sets you on fire for each other. But ensure that you are not indulging in acts that preclude the act of procreation. Because in that manner, what you are essentially saying is that you are denying what God meant this to be for in the first place.
And again, and it doesn't mean that it is only when you want to have a baby you will have Congress.
Yeah, yes.
I just want to hammer this.
Yes, it's only when
it's actually for enjoyment. The church accepts that fact.
Okay, good.
That Congress is for the pleasure of the spouses.
Yeah. And then romance should not be thrown away too.
No.
Because
It shouldn't.
it's the pre.
No, what we are saying here, Reverend, is
Nobody talked about romance now. It's the oral sex we're talking about.
Yes, that's what we're saying.
And you see, there's the definition of. Can I define sodomy?
Right.
Yes.
Sodomy says anal or oral copulation with a member of the same or opposite sex. It's actually sodomy.
So sodomy is not okay. So for
He's
me
not talking about sodomy here, right?
Anal or oral.
That's anal or oral sex now.
Okay, but man and woman can do that.
That's what they said here now. That's the definition.
Okay.
That's sodomy.
But
Yes, that's sodomy.
Is against
most of
sodomy.
the
It's
time,
against sodomy.
is man to man or woman to woman. Sodomy.
From what
That's the
Pastor
definition
Dodo
now.
just
Don't mind
read,
them.
is that the biblical or the dictionary?
That's the dictionary.
That's the dictionary meaning. Even the dictionary itself, not even the Bible.
Which is secular.
Which is secular. If the dictionary says so, how much more the Bible?
It's the Bible and the
The
church.
dictionary says that whether it is anal or oral,
Yes,
it's all considered sodomy.
yes.
Well, that's another one.
Which means it's not allowed.
It is not.
It
allowed.
is not allowed,
Yeah.
yes.
So simple.
Now, we need to be a bit careful with this. You know, my concern really is even for people who are not married.
We are
Fundamentally.
listening to us.
Yes, people
That is now whether they are married or not.
Or not.
If you are a man and a woman or a woman and a man, it is wrong.
That is one aspect of it.
Yeah, it is
for those
wrong.
who are not married. And for those who are even married who have the license for it, that's for Congress, it should be open to the possibility of childbirth. Don't deny that possibility, which means the church is saying that you should, if you must have it, then, I mean, go through the natural family planning, so that you don't objectify. We had this debate here, I think, for weeks. We took it, even during the lockdown, we had this, because truly speaking, the artificial birth control and all of that comes with complications today. And so for the sake and for the good of the woman, we should go the natural way. It is not easy. We've talked about the fundamental point at the end of the day is self-control for the man. It's self-control because the man says, I want it, and she says, I'm not safe, and he says, I just want it. It's your business. So at the end of the day, it is self-control. These two are one, and then they must discuss it always and again if and when they want to have it. And it is excluded completely from young people who are not married, even elderly people who are not married. It is not for them. And so what we are saying here is that oral sex, oral congress, anal makes the other partner an object. It dehumanizes the other person. That's what it does.
Okay.
All right. We're having quite a number of questions coming in from single people too. Somebody is asking about kissing as engaged couples. Is it allowed?
You don't kiss until you are married because to be candid, it's part of Congress. A strong part of Congress. Strong. When I say strong, underline it.
It's a means to the end.
So what do you do when you're engaged? To show affection?
You make sure if at all, the far you can go is to hold the hand and say, I love you.
But Reverend, right here you did tell us some time ago when we were talking about how do you know that
Now,
you and this person are even compatible
To be candid.
when it comes to Congress. You said hug him, put your legs somewhere where you can tell.
look, this one that we were talking is not always. There are some people that when you look at them, it appears as if they have no life. And if you want to judge them, at that time, that is what was to be done. But now, medically, it's easy to access that type of a thing. It's easy to know whether the man can trigger or cannot trigger. So you don't need all those things, you know.
How do you know, sir?
When I finish here, I go to rehearse whatever I say. And then I go into books again to read medically.
How do you know medically? Does the doctor stimulate the man in front of you to ensure that he is capable?
The doctor knows what to do about it. It has to do with the nerves. Those who are in the neurological.
Reverend Adejo, how plausible is this situation you're talking about? That because you want to marry a girl, then you go to the hospital for them to check if you are able to hold an erection.
Yeah, we do tests now. We do a
In
lot
the
of
hospital?
tests. Yes, we do a
Or
lot
in
of
the
tests.
church?
But not in the church. It is in the hospital.
In the church?
And
I'm just so that we're clear.
no, you can't do that in the church. If you are doing that in the church and somebody opened the door and he sees you, there's scandal. No, it is in hospital. To be candid, we have seen people who are married and at the end of the day, the man cannot stand. And it was a big mistake. And right from that time, we began to go through medical. And I think it has helped.
So you're working in conjunction with the hospital. That's what you're saying.
Oh, yes. We have lists to check even. And all those lists must be checked through and certified correct. If not,
Okay.
we don't go forward.
All right. So that's another thing to look at. Since kissing isn't allowed, I hope you're satisfied with that answer. And for the man who is talking about 7 years with the wife, no Congress, please reach out
Yes,
after
reach out to-
this program. I think it's
Left.
important enough for us to actually talk with you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, so quickly, we've run out of time. Cannot open up the phone lines, but I think there is one more that we need to address, which is how do you deal with this in-law issue? I want to be careful how I couch this because the person who sent in this text message said that the spouse listens along with them, and the person wouldn't want for the spouse to know that
to do with them.
Yes, this message is personal,
So we
but
can keep it flat.
there seems to be a problem with the in-laws, not like the parents of each party are not exactly in tandem because of different issues
Differences.
as pertains to their marriage. And this person is actually kind of confused about whether or not or whose side
Will she tilt or will
or
he
he take. Yes,
But the thing is that we don't even know the situation.
right.
And if both parents
Live with them.
No, they can't live with them now.
What's the
Both parents cannot live with them. We need to know what the problem is, even if you are not going to say it on air, so that at least we'll be able to know.
idea?
Yes, we'll be able to know the advice that we can give her. But I would say that she and her husband should discuss the issue, and the two of them should take a stand.
Yeah, because
That's- That's if we know.
for me, marriage is not the creation of a third family; it is the creation of a new family. This African thing that you get married so in-laws can interfere in marriages, I don't see it that way. I really don't see it that way. With very high regards for the African culture and our traditions, in-laws should understand that their children are now adults and they are capable of taking care of their families, and so interference should be at the barest minimum. At the barest minimum. I mean, at the point of being an in-law, the only interference will be advice or advices. So when it comes to interfering seriously, that brings so much concern to a point where a man or a woman is thinking, which side or whose side should I tilt to? Then this is a very serious matter. It must be a very serious matter for him or for her to have these concerns. So I think that in-laws should not interfere in the marriages of their spouses, should give them the room to live their lives, except, and of course, there are very serious issues that they need to come into and then help assuage. Other than that, no.
Okay, you know, when people write something like this and they said they don't want to expatiate more, we will take it based on when two in-laws are in collision, and then the daughters, the son are inside this thing. I think, let me just bulldoze it this way. The scripture says in Proverbs, it says, he who finds a wife, Proverbs chapter 18, verse 22, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. Now, the man that brought these two parents together is the man, isn't it? Okay, let's take it from there. Is the man. And if these two parents are quarreling, and thank God, he loves the wife, and the wife acknowledges that. Acknowledge that, isn't it?
Yes.
So, the good thing begins from there. So, the man can start with his own parents. Let us go. Please follow me to my in-law so that we appease them. Whatever we have done wrong that is causing this, let us settle it and let him go and beg the family of the wife. I'm telling you, that is the better way to go. The Bible says in the book of Hebrews chapter 12 verse 14, it says, follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see God. Now, let me take example from the scripture. In-laws, that is, those from the man's side, should learn to respect the parents of the wife. When the parents of the wife talk, because you are from the man's side, you don't just begin to abuse or insult. No. This must be a serious matter. What about when Moses went to visit Jethro? You remember? What did he do? They said when Moses got up, as powerful as Moses, he went to the in-law and did obeisance to the in-laws. What is wrong with the man and his parents going to this woman's parents and say, we are sorry for what is causing this, whatever it may be? Look, that is also a proof that the man loves the wife.
Right. Okay, Reverend. What if it is the woman's family that is
has
causing
the problem.
all the troubles?
Yes.
What
If it is the
yes. What if it's the girl, the married woman,
then
whose family
it
is
is
causing
the
all?
duty of the girl
Right.
to go to her parents and say, look, let us apologize to the parents of my husband. It becomes easy to do if two of them love themselves. It becomes easy to do.
But if the parents don't love themselves,
Now,
there's a problem. We don't know what the actual problem is, except she says it.
There are
And
things
then we have a picture of what is there. Then we can be able to advise her.
Indeed, that was
correctly.
what I said to this person, and hopefully we'll hear from
it
them
may not be
later.
unconnected with money, because that is what can bring two families like that together. You know?
It's possible. No one
could
knows.
be money.
Your guess is as good as anyone's
It
right
could be
now.
money.
Could be anything. Quickly before we go, people usually think that issues when it comes to marriage, usually the issues could be between people of different faiths. But even when within the same faith but different denominations, there are issues. And so this man who is about to get married says that he really appreciates the efforts that you all put into ensuring that Christian homes do not crumble. And that is why he's asking that he met this lady on the 1st of January this year, and he told her that he wanted to marry her, which she also has shown interest, but he is of one faith and she is of another. No, sorry, not faith. He is of one denomination and she is of another, even though both of them are Christians. But he said they have actually had this discussion, and she has told him that when she's ill in their own denomination, they don't go to the hospital. They use faith. And that even when she gets pregnant, that is, she will be having her baby in the house. She will not be going to the hospital. And so he is saying that because her denomination believe in total and absolute faith to do everything. Okay, so that means that she probably wouldn't even be attending antenatal. And this for me is really eye-opening,
which is
because
wrong.
you think that, because this is the faith, all of us have the... No, this is the same Christianity, but different denominations. And here they have very, very different beliefs.
Yeah.
So,
Such people,
should these people even get married? Should they be talking about getting married?
not at all.
They shouldn't.
Looks like a recipe for disaster already.
They shouldn't at all.
Yeah. Not
Because they are not on the same page. They don't believe in the same things.
No.
So I think they shouldn't even start.
And-
Because when she's sick now, he cannot just be watching her, and his faith is not as strong as her own. And I don't think in the first place that she'll be willing.
His faith is not as strong. It's more like he feels like God has given man wisdom and shown them where to go, which is, a lot of people believe that, the hospital is there for a reason. God created man to have enough knowledge to be able to develop medicines and herbs,
Yeah.
for them to use.
medical knowledge is wisdom.
Right. So, it's
It's
not
God's
about
wisdom.
faith.
In the
here.
first time, in the first place, I don't think will she gladly go to the church that he goes to?
No, she says that he might have to join her church.
Then it's wrong, because the woman leaves everything and she cleaves to her husband, plus her religion, her faith, everything. She now joins the husband. So I don't think he should just ask God to help him so that he can forget this woman and bring the one that is his own, because he's going to have a lot of problems.
Honestly, looks like a recipe for disaster
Yeah.
already.
When we talk about maternal mortality, this is one of the causes. When you say you are pregnant, in fact, I don't just wait for you to be pregnant. You plan your pregnancy. You begin before you even marry, and before you get pregnant, you must go through checkups to make sure you are in a state of good health. And then you say you wouldn't attend antenatal care, you say you wouldn't go to hospital when you want to deliver. There are lots of things that can come up during delivery. Complications, sudden complications.
She
can
said
just-
she will give birth at home. So because that's what her faith
That's her
says.
faith.
So
Her faith
this
says
is
so.
this is also a clarion call to some of our denominations who do this kind of things. It's truly speaking obnoxious to hear, because some of these people go abroad and they tell their members to do this thing at home.
Sometimes
and all
this
of
thing
that.
started with poverty.
But then let us. Anyway, maybe this is not the opportunity to do
yes,
this.
he actually mentioned the denomination and that, but I just added, no, you see,
Like there are places for faith in everything, and there are places for wisdom.
without work.
The Bible did say wisdom is profitable to
direct.
direct.
Yes.
So,
And wisdom is the principal thing.
but you know, you are the one who sent this in. She's not even in Kaduna. It's a long distance relationship, and you've sent this in. My brother, this looks like a recipe for disaster. Thank God that you're asking even before you go far.
Yes, so-
Your relationship it hasn't gone too far. It was January this year, and I dare say, even if it's been for a year and you're asking this, honestly, I think the Holy Spirit itself is convicting you, and that's why you're writing. And I think it's important that you take this very seriously. Marriage is not a journey that you put your hands on the plow and look back. Don't go further into this relationship, especially since she's not even countenancing joining you in your own denomination. And frankly, I am one of those who thinks that's even once this denomination thing, if it doesn't tally, just try to, just pull apart and go your separate ways. It's as bad as the genotype thing, because at the end of the day, sometimes they will say they will join the man.
That's right.
They start going to the man's denomination. After a while, the pull is still too strong, and they go back, and you're already married, and then a whole lot of other problems come from there.
Yeah.
So please, my brother, thank God you're asking. Just stop this right now and ask God to give you direction on whom you want to marry, on the right person, so that when she meets someone of her own ilk, they can join their faiths together and do whatever. But I think, honestly, for a Christian to deny, because you're actually denying the wisdom that God has given to man, and you're saying everything is just going to be faith.
Jacqueline is not biblical.
It's not.
I have researched into this. I have a book written from the medical point of view and from the biblical point of view,
When you're ill, you don't go and see
which
the
I
doctor.
titled Swift Childbirth. And I tell you, it's biblical for you to go to hospital. It's biblical for you to check to make sure your baby is doing well. It's biblical to go to hospital. Wouldn't we hear nurses in the days of Jacob? Nurses. Where do we have nurses?
Midwives, yes.
Midwives.
Yes.
Even Moses, man.
Okay.
About to give.
There are so many examples that can be taken, but we've run out of time. But the person who talked about 7 years, his wife not wanting him to touch her, is actually also talking about. He's asking that, what do you do about a woman who has congress with another man on the eve of their wedding? And so, well, this is a situation where Mr. Ogbaki actually has said something about what the Catholic perspective, but sometimes you don't know these things until well into the marriage when you already have children. What do we do at that time? Do you annul such a marriage? Do you annul? You forgive and move on.
That's right.
I think.
You forgive.
We don't know what the situation is, but honestly, we are open to being contacted. Let me quickly call out the numbers of our resource persons here so that for those who might want to get across to them. For Mr. Emmanuel Ogbaki, if you want to reach him, you can reach him on the number 08068616731. Once again, that's 08068616731. You can reach Reverend Adejo on 08034057915. For Reverend Adejo, reach him on 08034057915. For Pastor Dodo, it is 08186142295. Once again, for Pastor Dodo, send her a text message on 08186142295. Thank you so much, Pastor Dodo, Reverend Joe Adejo, and Miss Aima Ogbaki. Thank you so much for being here this evening. Once again, we are far behind, and we have to run from the studio at this time. Suffice it to say that there are people who have actually good marriages, marriages where they're having congress, they have issues, they come back together, and congress is all the sweeter. Where are you going to stand? On what path are you going, or what path are you going to take? It is very important that we take God's word seriously, because that is the only way that burden that he said his burden is light and his yoke is easy. That's the only way we'll be able to experience it in this life that is already difficult. What's your choice? Until next Sunday, remain victorious.